Hey guys, welcome to Clockwork, Dan and Noodles for another breakdown of Solo Leveling episode 11, the penultimate episode for this season. Wow, budget flex. I didn't even think these guys had the budget left for it, but they have flexed so hard, and I've got a lot to discuss for this episode in particular. Thankfully, we have another episode left. I don't know where we're going to cut off, but there have been leaks about season 2. And what I heard was that season 2 is not far behind. Apothecary Diaries has finally had its second season confirmed. That's 2025, sadly. This one I've heard is coming not far away. So what I presume they're doing is a split core type thing where the next season's probably coming in 2 seasons time, probably. Totally understand, because this week's episode was absolutely mind-blowing. It was crazy. I saw some people giving a heads up saying that it was going to be like Fate's Stay Night level godly, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll see what they're doing, because so far it's been good. I've liked it, but nothing's really mind blown to me. Like, it's a really good show, and there's parts that I really do like, but there's a few bits, especially this week with the Jeju Island stuff. It does feel like we're supposed to be really paying attention to it, but it also seems to feel like it's a background event, but it also feels really important. This week's episode, fight wise, is this the best fight I've seen this season? Perhaps, because I'm not watching a lot of actiony shows. This might be the best fight I've seen with Igris. I'll break that down with you guys, but yes, we have got the end of season review coming in about a week and a bit, because Solo Leveling is now sticking out by a week. Otherwise it would be next week, but I'm gonna have to wait till Sunday to drop my top 3, because I don't want to commit just yet, because this episode shook things up a little bit. I'm teetering with 2 shows. I just need to see how they're both going to end, and then I'm going to commit to making my top 3. You're going to have to wait for that. There's going to be some fun awards, of course. I can't wait to actually crown some fun different awards. It allows me to also appreciate different shows, go through what I've really enjoyed for the season, so hopefully you guys also check that out. But let's discuss today's episode, because the job change wasn't a job change per se. And I really thought a job change meant like he was going to have different stuff going on, because he seemed to be geared up towards an assassin build. Maybe it was going to change his build a little bit. Perhaps it is. Perhaps he's actually going to get more armor. See him donning armor this week, but not in the way where he was actually walking around looking really cool in armor. There was so much going through my brain this week when he actually goes into this next instance, and it's like, what is the goal? What is the actual purpose for all these windows? How is this connected to things like the gates? What about this Jeju Island stuff going on? I guess it's because we're getting towards the end of it, and I'm just starting to wonder what threads are still there. I did like the fact that they removed the ability to heal this week, because we know he's got a full heal ability. I don't really worry about Jin in Solo Leveling often enough, because he's so powerful. I don't panic, or I don't worry. I'm not like on the edge of my seat watching. This week, when you remove the ability to full heal, he had to basically limit how he is, because his mana wasn't going to heal as quickly because he can't use potions. There was a risk and reward. Igris at the end was insanely powerful. I was on the edge of my seat. Like, I didn't want to stop to write notes, because I really wanted to let the scenes play out, and I think that's why this week's episode in particular stands out above the rest for me, because there was this danger element. There was also the really fast-paced nature. Dinner with, I think his name is Jin Ho. So we've got a Jin and a Jin Ho. Jin Ho's family dinner interrupting our boys' fight. That I almost didn't want to happen, because I really just wanted to non-stop watch the fight in the dungeon and see what was going on, because it was insane. I do, however, like the power dynamic, the use of the contrast on the screen, where you can see Jin Ho through just a tiny crack on the screen where the rest of it is blank, just showing the hierarchy of the family, that he feels quite small compared to his brother, who's very imposing. And obviously Jin Ho is doing his own little thing right now, not actually telling people what he's up to. He literally takes up a tiny bit of the screen whilst his brother is blocking out the rest of it. You can see how the power dynamics play in the family. Like, he is the youngest brother. Do your own thing, stick to your own little corner. I do like that use, but it really wasn't what I wanted to focus on. As soon as it came up, I was like, no, come back. I want to go and see what's going on, because the fight is amazing. Now, the fluidity of this fight is just insane. I love the flow. The flow is so nice. It's almost like Jin is dancing between the different types of foes. This one's magic. This one's a stealth. I love it. I love the inclusion of different builds because he has to move in a different manner. And I love the fact that the animation this week is top tier. I don't know who animated this week's episode, but my goodness, hats off to you, because maybe it is the same person who did the Fate Stay Night stuff, because people were definitely mentioning Fate Stay Night a lot. And it might be the fact that it's the same studio. Maybe it's the same person who did those fights and this fight, because it looked insane. This was like another level of insane. And there was a part where I think he was trying to catch a breath between all those barrage of attacks. It was so nicely animated. It was like, this is another level of animation completely. No chance to catch a breath, and you felt it. The music was really good. But that's obviously when we cut to the Jeju Island stuff. Now, the Jeju Island stuff feels so important, but I honestly can't tell you who's who. Can't tell you what's really going on. I can't really tell you anything about it. It just seems that something big went down. Apparently made like 3 attempts to go back. This big dude is allowing these guys to go back for another time because they are not being silent about it. They're not letting this thing fall into the background. They're not letting it fall into memory. But that's all I really got. It looks like a lot of S-Class people who have been called up because I think the girl is there. I don't know who the redhead guy is. He looked like he was the head of the guild. The problem I think is that I really just wanted to focus on the fight, and I didn't actually think enough attention had been given to the side plot that was now being wedged in between the coolest thing I've seen all season. Really trying to get back to the fight because I really wanted to see the fight. I didn't want that fight to end. I didn't want it to be a short fight. It felt like I really wanted this to be a nice long scene, and it is so perfect. Now, the throne room sequence where the fire just lights is just beautiful. That sequence is absolutely gorgeous. The armor on Igris is really cool. Now, we're talking designs. This design is amazing. It's got a bit of a Bloodborne type feel to it, but I also see why people might think it's a bit Fate Stay Nighty because of the animation on him as well. I love the fact that it's red. I also love the fact that Jin knows immediately it's out of my league. The name is in red. Oh, damn it. I also think it's a bit weird that when it came to like the whole there's a job change mission. You've hit level 40. Do you want to do this? There's no warning or indication how powerful what you're about to undertake is. If people had known it was against maybe this guy, maybe he wouldn't have gone guns blazing into it. He might have tried to level up a bit. I don't understand how somebody at level 40 was supposed to be able to take Igris on. The way Jin actually defeats him is a little bit fluky. And even he says my win was a fluke. Imagine a lot of people would have also lucked out. Now, the scene itself is just absolutely insane, and let's talk about music for a moment. The Sawano score is just the perfect icing on the cake when it comes to this show in particular. I'm also so glad that it is Sawano, and I guess people talking Fate Stay Night, it was actually Sawano who did the recent stuff, the score for that as well. A nice little link there. I love the fact that the music starts to climb. We start getting the choirs kicking in. I love the fact as Igris starts to destroy the throne room, the music starts to dominate. I love it. It also seems like Igris has a bit of a consciousness. All the other things that he seems to go up against, they seem to almost be programmed in a way that they're on autopilot. They do their thing. They just attack you, but they don't actually react self-consciously. And Igris seemed a little bit self-conscious in the fact that he literally throws his sword away as soon as Jin goes barehanded. And I love that. Whether it is just him being magnanimous, but it also felt like he was getting cocky. He hasn't got a face, but if you were reading this guy's expression, it felt cocky. Looking down on Jin almost. There's not much going on, and it's a really cool design, but there's enough to the design for you to go, I feel like this guy's cocky. He looks like he's smiling, but I know he's not because he's obviously just a mask. Fight switches it up to hand combat because hand combat is also really, really cool. And I love the fact that it goes to hand combat, and the music as well starts to pick up again. And you can see Jin starting to panic a bit because he's starting to try and think about, how do I outdo this? Multiple times does he say, this guy is actually better than me. So you can see him starting to actually panic a little bit. The gyroscopic effect, I love that word as well, of that fight where he's in the air and the room is rotating behind him. That is so nice. That is so nice, and I can see why you're really splashing your budget here. It looks great. The atmospheric nature of the background really, really works. I like the gold highlights as well. I love the fire. I love the shadows. I think it looks really good. It's very hard to keep up with this episode. Really hard. You'd have to multiple watch it to get everything going on. There's a lot going on. It is also a little bit ironic that Jin ends up having his quiet moment on the throne. He actually ends up on the throne, and it's like, oh, I wonder if that's actually Igris' throne, and he's like looking at me right now, and he's going, why are you sitting in my chair? I don't know. I love it. I love the whole throne room setup as well. It just felt very Bloodborne-y, Dark Souls-ish, From Softy kind of stuff. It really felt like that with the whole kind of setup with like these pillars, and then he's like smacking up the pillars, and then there's obviously this raised platform. The quiet moment is really, really nice. It's also reflected in the music, where the music completely goes silent. I love it because it's a low moment. And then the scream. That VA knows how to scream. The scream is insane. I love that moment where the music starts to kick back in, and then Jin just starts to really realize that I'm not ready to give up. I can't give up. And you really do know a fight is intense when they start to bust out the line art. The line art section was really nice. I love it. I like the little lines to show how powerful everything really is. It's such a nice fight. There's a lot of very nice animation going on. Everything about the fight is just perfect. It looks good. It sounds good. It really did have a bit of an edge to it where I just did not want to look away. I had to watch it over and over, then write the notes, because I didn't want to miss anything. I wanted to make sure I could read everything. I could make sure that I could read the room, see everything that happened. The bit at the end where he says he's got 4 different awards, it felt like he brushed over Ruler's hand on purpose. That the anime's not ready for us to go there just yet, so he's just going to say, we'll look at it later. But it feels like he did that on purpose, and it actually might be something very important later on, just because of the way they actually framed it. Probably is going to be the case. I would like to see Jin actually wearing Igris's like headpiece. It's all kind of invisible, which is quite sad. I would actually like to see him wearing that headpiece, because that headpiece is really, really cool. But it's kind of sad that in this is, you just have the effects of the armor, but you don't actually get to wear the armor or anything. But it did feel a little bit fluky when he beat him, because it didn't really feel like there was much strategy in this one. As normally Jin comes up with a lot of strategy, he normally has a method up his sleeve. This one felt like I'm just trying everything and hoping for the best. I get that because he's panicking. I like that. It shows you that this is a different level of fight compared to everything that he's seen up until this point. Now, the Jeju Island stuff at the end, again, it just feels really shoehorned in. I don't know what's going on. You need to spend a bit of time on that, and I don't know many of these characters who they are. I know it feels important, I just don't know how it's linked, and I don't know what's going on. So, honestly, I could have had the whole episode without the Jeju stuff in the mix, because I just wanted to watch 25 minutes of just Jin in that dungeon against that fight. That fight was just perfect. I also love the fact that they play us a little bit where, hey, here's a quiet bit, he's picking up his loot. At this point, you know it's the end, and then boom, actually no, we got you. It's not the end. You've now got another level that you've got to sit through. I love that, because you think it's over, and the anime is playing you, because up to this point, you know, he gets an award, he leaves. That's the kind of thing that it's been so far. This time round, he gets an award. Oh, here's the next wave of enemies coming in your way, and it's not going to be easy. And you can see him grabbing for the teleport stone, and then that getting knocked out of his hand. Like, the anime's like, nah, we're not done yet. I don't want you using that, so that is gone. Please don't do that. I want to see you fight, because the anime knows it's way more fun to watch him fight than have him teleport out of there. So I love the fact that they actually took that away from him, the inability to actually teleport out of there. So I don't even want to know how much money they spent on episode 11, because the budget for that episode must have been the highest episode so far. The fact that it's non-stop scenes that aren't really interrupted, like lots of beautiful, powerful sweeps, bursts of energy, and the floor is suddenly destroyed. There was a lot of that going on, so I really can't wait to see where we're going. But I am really impressed. This episode wasn't anything I expected. Like, it's been good so far, and I've enjoyed it, but it's not been that something. Something has been missing, and this episode has brought that something, I think. It made me sit up, it made me watch it, made me go, oh wow. So I don't know where we're going to go next week. I don't know how it's going to get even better. Maybe Igris comes back. That would be cool, because he's such a cool character. It's sad to see him just knocked out in just one episode. I want to see it back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We have one more episode now to bust through, so thank you for sitting with me. I think I can say with certainty, even with this one episode to go, out of all of the manhwa adaptations that I've seen, and I've watched every single one that's come out, this is my favourite, and I think this is the one they've done a lot of justice to. I haven't read the manhwa, but compared to the other ones we've seen, this is the show that I have really gone, okay, I think you've done the source justice. I think you've really done it justice this time, and I think it really works. We've got Tower of God Season 2 coming back in July. I'm watching that one. I'm breaking it down, because I did say that I actually really like Tower of God. I actually got to play Hero Kantari, where there was a lot of manhwa stuff in it. I know a little bit more for Tower of God. I'm not going to spoil anything in those breakdowns. I definitely want to watch it because I know that one gets absolutely wild. Favourite manhwas right now, Solo Leveling and then Tower of God, but obviously I'm only anime only. But those are going to be the shows that can go head to head and they can get as crazy as they want. This episode was fantastic. Thank you guys so much for listening to my rambles. I will see you one last time next week. Bye guys.